Over the last 12 years, I have personally shot thousands of homes that are listed for sale by real estate agents, and I've since then built a business and trained photographers at my business to shoot thousands more, and trained a bunch of people just like you to start and grow their business. And the reason I tell you that is because I have a great video for you today. I've taken all of that experience when it comes to the actual shooting process and made as much of it as I could into some cheat sheets that I wanna break down for you on this video. We're gonna go step by step and make it a real estate photography 101 video. So if you're brand new to real estate photography or you're new in general, this is gonna be a great video that goes over the basics: composition, how to prep a house, camera settings, editing, everything you need to know to get started as a real estate photographer. But here's what I want you to do. So I want you to follow along on these cheat sheets. I'm gonna go through these one at a time on here, but I want you to have them. So pause the video, and below, the top item you'll see is to download these free cheat sheets. So put in your information, I'm gonna send them to you immediately, you'll get access to them. And then I want you to have them in front of you as we go through this video. So with that being said, we're gonna go onto these. Now, I'm assuming you have these in front of you, so if you haven't, pause it and do that. But we're gonna start with, it's gonna be kind of in a different order than you expect, because I think this is what helps make people successful as real estate photographers. The first thing we're gonna start with is what I call the must move list. These are things that should never be in your real estate photos. Let me make this a little bit thicker, the pen here. These should never be in your real estate photos. And here's the thing, what a lot of professional real estate photographers will say or have the attitude of is, the house needs to be ready when I get there. And if you do that, you're just leaving a bunch of business on the table. It's not your job to clean a house. You're a real estate photographer, right? But if you make it your job to spend 15 minutes making sure houses look as good as possible, you are going to make so much more money. It's not your job, but if you make it your money, it'll work. You make it your job, it'll make you money. Because real estate agents, they try to get their homeowners to prepare, but there's just stuff out. So if you're willing to do the work that others don't want to do, you're gonna make the money that they could never dream of making. If you do this and a bunch of other things, right? And so these are things that we always want to make sure are hidden in real estate photos. Trash cans, pet food, pet toys, water bowls, food bowls, everything like that. Toys, cages, toothbrushes, hairbrushes, tissue boxes. So what I do when I go through a house is I go turn on all the lights, and as I'm turning on the lights, opening blinds, if there's soap on the counter, I hide it in the counter underneath. If there's a pet food bowl, I stick it in the closet. If there's a hairbrush, I put it away. Non-decorative soap, I said shampoo, conditioner. If there's stuff in the shower, unless it's like crazy amount of stuff, you can close the shower if it's a crazy amount of stuff, like one of those curtains, but you could just take it out and put it under the sink. Like, spend some time to prepare. The bathrobes, you never want those in photos, or like towels on racks that are not decorative. We want to make the house look as good as possible every time. It only takes 10 minutes, right? Generally, as a rule of thumb, what I recommend doing is you spend 10 minutes on every house. Doesn't matter if it's completely trashed or perfect. If it's perfect, you spend 10 minutes to make it as good as humanly possible. If it's trashed, you do the low-hanging fruit so it looks a little better. And then you want to turn off your fans in real estate photos because they'll blur, and then grill covers. Like, get the house looking good. So that is at the bare minimum what has to be moved from all of our real estate shots. And it's a good rule of thumb when you're prepping a house. So if you're practicing in your own house, just try this, make sure it looks good. Number 2, your house is prepped, lights are on, blinds are open, stuff's hidden. What do you shoot? This one is one, I'm gonna walk you through it, but more so I want you to take some time yourself to go through it and kind of see what's going on. Generally, how we do it is you're gonna get one photo of every room except for a few. So like the primary bedroom and bathroom, you're gonna get 3 photos of each. Other bedrooms, you're just gonna shoot like 1 photo. You don't really need a bunch. So what I want you to do is take some time here to go through this. Now, what I'm not saying you have to do is like get 4 photos at all costs. This is just a general rule of thumb for what the distribution of photos should look like. If you're shooting a 60 photo package, you're gonna wanna up all these numbers, but still keep the ratios. If you're shooting a 20 photo package, you're obviously gonna drop some of the numbers off, but the ratios are the most important thing. And so go through this, especially when you're first starting. If you take the time to be thoughtful about the shots you take and not just shoot a ton every house, you're gonna be more efficient as you scale. I don't want you to build a bad habit of like overshooting at every house, because then it takes more time when you're at the house and you get a bunch of worse images instead of a smaller amount of high quality ones. Then when you get home, it takes more time to transfer from your SD card to your computer, right? And then it takes more time to upload to your editors. We'll talk about editors in a second. So get in the habit of doing this ratio. The next one is what you'll need is basics for camera equipment. So if you already have your camera equipment, hang out for a second, we'll be past this in a minute, but if not, here's what you wanna look for. We recommend, and our full gear kit is below, at the time of filming this, it says M50 on here, we just switched to the R50, which is a very similar camera. So what you need to shoot real estate to get started is really 3 things: a camera, with a wide angle lens, a tripod to put the camera on, and then an SD card in your camera. Like, if you can get these things and I combine the lens and the camera into one, you'll be good. What I see a lot of real estate photographers doing wrong at the start is they like watch all these YouTube videos and it's like, buy this camera and get full frame and get this gimbal and get this drone, and there's like thousands of dollars worth of gear. If you have the money, I mean, maybe keep the money, I would recommend, and still not do this. But if you have the money, do your thing. What I don't want you to do, and what so many people make the mistake of, is they're waiting because they're saving up for gear. Waiting is never a good option if your goal is to grow your business. And so get this gear. Like I said, the full kit link I have is down below, and that'll break it down by budget, kit, and then the kit my employees use, and you could just order that exact stuff. But that's like a great starting point for real estate photography. The thing with real estate photography is the most important part is the wide angle lens. Like, if you already have a camera body, get a wide angle lens for that camera. But there's one thing I want to talk about in the wide angle lens is there's like two types of cameras. There's full frame, and then there's crop sensor. So depending on, you need to look up your camera if you already have a camera body. This one is a crop sensor that I recommend, but you need to determine which one yours is, and then you need a different wide lens. So if you have a full frame camera, the widest the lens can go, you can get away with 16 millimeters, because that sensor is like physically bigger than this sensor, which is physically smaller. So you need a less wide lens. Now on a crop sensor camera, you're gonna need an 11 millimeter at the most zoomed in. So like, or not the most zoomed in, but you know what I mean? Like, this is the widest it goes. If you get like a 13, it's not gonna work. So you're gonna need something that has 11 millimeters, or 10 is better at the widest. So depending on what type of camera it is, you need to get those. Again, the full gear kit's below. This is just if you already have a camera. Next thing, and this is one of the things that's pretty cool about real estate photography, is you shoot with the same camera settings every time. So on this cheat sheet, I break down like how settings work and generally what to look at. But what you're gonna wanna do if you're a real estate photographer is you're gonna shoot every aperture. Every photo is gonna be on f9. It says this on here as well. Your ISO is gonna be anywhere under 800, but like I just say 250 because it's easy to remember one number. Put it on 250. You can shoot with the lower ISO, and all the comments I get are like, Eli, why not shoot with 150? Because 250 is gonna be more grainy. Well, it's not actually, you're not gonna notice the grain, but if you go super low on ISO and then you get in a dark house, your shutter speeds can be like 15 to 30 seconds, which is just a long time to wait. I don't wanna wait. So that's why I shoot ISO 250. So those are gonna be your basic camera settings. And then the third one you're gonna change is shutter speed. So how this works, how a camera works, is there's three things. They call it the exposure triangle, and this is like about the peak of my knowledge because I'm not really knowledgeable in cameras, I just know how to make money with them. But here's how it works. There's three things that determine your exposure. So right here is ISO. This is gonna be the electrical sensitivity of the sensor in your camera. So if you have more of this, it's more sensitive to light and it absorbs light faster, therefore the image is brighter. But if you use too much of this, it gets grainy because it's fake, right? The other two, so we have, right here we have ISO, and the other two are aperture. That determines how big the opening in your lens is. So obviously the bigger the opening, the more light that can come in, the brighter the image. But if you make that opening really big, your background's gonna get blurry, or whatever's close to you is gonna get blurry. So we just shoot on F9 every time. You don't even have to know this, I just like to give you some background. So we shoot on F9 every time. And then the shutter speed, so we have, like at the camera, there's the lens or the sensor in the back, and then we have that aperture ring, and then in front of that we have a shutter. And that's the third thing. Now what a shutter does is it opens up. It's gonna open up for a split second and close. And the longer that shutter is open, the more light can absorb on the sensor. So if it goes like this and it stays open, it's gonna constantly absorb light. And then if it goes really fast, it's gonna get less light. So that's how the images are made up. The only thing you change is the shutter. And you just change that to expose for the room. And if that was really confusing, I promise you when you actually try it, it's not. We'd love to help you with that process. If you go below, there's a link to apply for coaching, and that's what we can help you with. Okay, so number 4, we talked about exposure or shutter speed already. The last setting that you need to know is because of the way we shoot, you'll see this on there, we shoot every photo as 3 brackets. So on your camera, you'll set up auto exposure bracketing. You'll have to look up how to do it for your specific camera, but just type in like Canon R50 auto exposure bracketing. And what auto exposure bracketing is gonna do is it's gonna let you pick the brightness of this photo. So you're gonna take a photo that your camera says is exposed properly. Again, I know you're getting used to some of this new stuff probably if you're not familiar with cameras, but you're gonna use those settings we talked about to shoot this photo. And your camera is automatically gonna take one that is 2 stops darker, and then it's gonna take one that is 2 stops brighter. And so it's gonna take 3 photos every time you take one. And this is what we need to make awesome real estate photos. If you've ever seen any good real estate photos, you can see out the window out here and you can see inside. And the reason for that is because when we shoot the bright bracket, it shows the shadows, and we shoot the dark bracket, it gets the window views. And so you take these 3 photos and you send those to an editor. You can find, I think listed below, I'll put it if it's not already, but is the editors we recommend, or the platform we recommend to find editors. But you're gonna send those to an editor and they're gonna shoot awesome, or they're gonna edit awesome real estate photos for you. The secret, one of the biggest secrets with real estate photography, is it's not a good idea to edit your own photos. So you get those 3 raw photos that don't look great, you send them to an editor, and the next morning you're gonna get back awesome real estate photos. Okay, so next thing, just a couple composition tips. You can study these again on your own, but number 1 is keep your verticals straight. So in the image, like you can see there's vertical lines here in this video. You don't want the camera tilted down. What a lot of real estate photographers do wrong when they're first starting is they lift the camera up and they shoot down in the room. You don't want to do that. You want to drop the camera to about between waist and light switch level, and then you want to shoot directly into the room. That's what you want to do. And then what I want you to do, there's a couple things on here, but the biggest thing is get your verticals right and just look at good real estate photos on Zillow, look at good shot photos and you'll get an idea for it. Or you can watch the workshop link below and it'll talk a little bit more about that. I'd love to help you in coaching as well. This is just a nice thing to do, and you can see it on your cheat sheets. It says start on the inside. So when you're actually shooting these photos, I recommend you shoot the inside of the house first, then go to the outside. I don't know if you can see, but it's raining here today. So if I shot the outside of this house first, then I would track it all through the inside of the house. So just like a common courtesy to do. And then last but not least, it's skipped, but it was coming back to it now. So I just wanted to show you the final result here. This is what your final photo is gonna look like. So I showed you, we take those 3 photos and they get blended together and gives you a good final photo. Obviously, color accuracy is pretty important, so keep that in mind when you get your photos back from your editor. If the room was white, it should be white. The key here is just to pick a good editor. So that's an overview of real estate photography in general, the very basics of it. What I want you to do is take a second to absorb those cheat sheets, go through them, and then if you're ready to do this seriously, like if your goal is actually to start and launch a real estate photo business of your own, there's a link below where you can apply for coaching with my team and I. You get literally assigned a one-on-one coach. It's a 6-month program. They walk you through everything you need to know, make sure your photos are good, connect you with editors, show you how to get clients. Like we literally handhold you every step of the process. Click that link and you'll get to talk with a real live human being on my team. And that's what they do all day, is talk to people like you. And then we have a great team of coaches. There's actually 24 of us full-time here on the REPP team. And our whole job is to make it a lot more than this. We want to show you how to implement all of this into your business. That's not my photography business. That's just over here on the REPP side of things, Real Estate Photographer Pro, our coaching business. So 20+ people full-time, ready to help you. Click the link below to apply. We'd love to work with you.